Pretty lame spin, but it came up a bull tonight. Good evening. Hey, what's up? This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals and Concierge Bullion Services in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. Boy, that's a long one, isn't it? Got the live John Pennekamp. Well, actually, it's not live. This is just kind of a pre-recorded thing, but just discovered a really cool new live cam that has all kinds of creatures. Looks like some angelfish down there, and there's a green sea turtle eating something. I'm not quite sure what they eat. Do they eat seagrass, kind of like the sea cows do? I think sea cows eat seagrass. Well, anyway, something you don't see too often is turtles live in nature like that, at least on live cams. Again, this is the Friends of John Pennekamp. I'm going to share this with you because it's a pretty cool, and you know, I'm a South Florida guy. Love the water down here, love South Florida. I'm going to share this with you. It's called the John Pennekamp Live Cam, and there it is right there. This is it currently, but they kind of move it around. There's lots of cool critters down there as well. I'm going to add this to my repertoire of live cams here in South Florida. This is not really the quote for the day, but I saw this and I said, man, this is cool. This kind of explains exactly what I wrap up every video with at the end of the day, which is question authority and think for yourself. Timothy Leary said that, and again, if you watch my videos, or if you watch any of my videos, you know at the very end I talk about this all the time. Think for yourself and question authority. It says it right here. Number one is question authority. Number two is think for yourself. I mean, I would reverse those if it was up to me, because I don't think you're quite up to questioning authority until you think for yourself and question what you think you know. But this kind of goes into it and explains that exactly. Question yourself. Man, it's like the universe just gave me this right here, because this is what I've been quoting here for this whole year so far. Since the beginning of the year, I've been quoting that think for yourself and question authority. I call it my quote of the year, and I really believe this because I think it's a very important time in history that we do question ourselves, and we do think for ourselves, and we do question authority, and we don't believe anything just because we want to. We test ideas by evidence gained from observation and experiment. We follow the evidence, and if we have no evidence, we reserve judgment. And again, folks, the most important way to start that is just kind of questioning what you believe to be true. Is it the truth? I'm going to get into a few things that question the narrative anyway. You know me, I always talk about that. Meanwhile, let's talk about what we are here to discuss. Gold and silver prices, which ultimately are up today. The coin nailed it. Coin said a lame roll I had tonight, but it did say a bull for tomorrow. And Sunday night's opening a bull, and as well as this morning's, and it looks like we closed upwards overall. Let's take a look at the, well, you know what? We'll look at the 24-hour charts and get a better feel for that. But New York spot prices, we see a low of 1772 in the, well, not New York, but the world spot prices, and a high of 1790. We're currently sitting, what, 50 cents off that high? $20.68 silver. Take a look at that, the low, and we'll look at the 24-hour charts. A 1982 and a high of 2074. Silver is back to making those really 50-cent and dollar moves up and down, backwards. Overall, it looks like it's clawing its way upward. Excuse me. And platinum, sorry about that. Platinum 943.11. Have we seen the end of sub $900 platinum? Have we seen the end of bargain sub $900 platinum? I don't know. I wish I could say for sure that I had a crystal ball and I could tell you that we've seen the end of it. I mean, I did a video months ago that said sub $20 gone silver, and really it felt like it was gone. But again, I even in that video and the videos I talk about all the time when I'm taking guesses, and that's what they are, kind of educated guesses where the market's going to be. You know, it's not easy to be right when you're just working off fundamentals and basic gut instinct, because what we're dealing with, again, is very manipulated markets and the price of gold and silver. But I digress. We'll get out of there and take a look at where we are today. Up overall, considering we're at the mid-1800s and the lower 1700s and sub $900 platinum, things look pretty good to me. I still believe that these prices, you're going to look back at these prices one day and say, man, that was cheap, that was cheap. But you can say that about a lot of things as well, so not just gold and silver. And we'll talk about that too as well here shortly when I get into the S&P versus gold prices. In the dollar versus gold prices. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the 24-hour chart here. You can see Monday or Friday's market just kind of sucked wind. The monkey hammering occurring in the New York Crimex markets, kind of sideways all day Friday until the opening. There's Sunday night last night, kind of sideways all night. And as you can see, the same thing until pre-opening markets before the Crimex markets here. And again, not quite sure who's buying or selling at that time and what market that's in. It looks like it could be in London, but it could be in the Crimex markets as well. But take a look at this. Market's kind of shot up, and we're sitting in the high 17 level. What's it going to do? Actually, let's just take a quick look here, because let's see if the market's open. I haven't refreshed this page. Are we going to open a little bit higher? Yeah, we are open right now, 1789. So we're open sideways, more or less right now. It looked like the market just opened up here, 4 minutes ago exactly. Let's take a look at the silver markets. The same thing, as you can see. Friday market's getting monkey hammered down sideways, and then until Sunday night sideways as well. Early pre-Crimex opening markets upward, and then we hit the Crimex opening, and then silver kind of jumps up magically. Flies upwards. Of course, you know, it's kind of weird when we talk about manipulation in these markets, because none of us complain when the markets are going up. We only complain when the markets are going down. I shouldn't say complain, but you should complain regardless. These markets should not be manipulated upward or downward by a handful of big collusive commercial short positions in the COMEX markets on silver and gold. That just should not happen. Although it's hard, you know, like I said, when it's up, everyone's like, yay, it's up, it's up, it's up. But, you know, really, if you figure the price discovery and how it's done and the crooks that do it, it's just shameful either way. But we're not talking about that tonight. I think we could make a whole subject on that by itself. What I do want to talk about, gold and the U.S. dollar correlation, and why the gold and U.S. dollar correlation is kind of such bullshit in a way, if you think about it. And I'm going to kind of try to give you some opportunities to wrap your mind around why. Remember the dollar strength, the dollar right here, the measurement of the dollar is not based on buying power. And I'll show you that chart. And really that chart is this right here. Consumer price index for urban consumers, purchasing power of the consumer dollar. I'll show you the maximum chart, which shows it's just in a downward trend forever right now. But the dollar index, the strength of the dollar index, and then you can look at this and you go, oh man, look, the dollar index is just continuing to go up. That must mean the dollar is getting stronger and stronger. This is an unfair comparison, folks, and I'll tell you why, between the dollar index and the dollar itself, which is based on the dollar index and the price of gold. Because the dollar index is, the strength of the dollar index is not based on gold. It's not based on this right here, what you can buy with it. It's based on a basket of other turds. And you know, I say that quite often, but what are other turds? The other turds are the other currencies, the fiat Canadian dollar, the fiat euro, the fiat ruble, the fiat peso, all these fiat currencies. It's a basket of currencies, that the fiat yuan, okay? It's a basket of currencies that the U.S. dollar strength is based on. And how you compare that to gold, I don't know, because gold's price is not based on other turds. Gold is not compared to other turds. And if you and again, dollar strength here is based on the other turds. When you look at this 115 mark and this $8, you know, this 118 mark for the strength of the U.S. dollar, this is not strength in this consumer buying power. It is strength against the other losing turds in the race to the glue factory, okay? The horse race to the glue factory. So this chart is so misleading, it's not even funny. And I'll show you why this chart's misleading. The increase of the dollar is supposed to be hurtful to the price of gold, and that's the narrative that's used, and that's the narrative that some economists, some investment people, a lot of investment people, and a lot of people on Wall Street truly believe. Because why? It's a narrative that they were fed. They never questioned it. What I was talking about here, they never questioned it. They never followed the evidence. They have no evidence to believe that dollar strength has any direct relationship in the price of gold, because it doesn't. And I'm going to show you a quick relationship. Look. Maximum chart here, if you can look since the Fed took over, how coincidental, since 1913 the dollar's been in a free fall, and particularly after the gold standard here, when Nixon took us off the gold standard, there's a nice little hill downward right there. And you know what's even scarier is to take a look at this 1 year chart right here. Fucking falling off a cliff, amazing. But Let me go back one. Oh, let me not go back one. Let me just put that the maximum chart here, folks. The dollar is not what you think it is. It's not what most people think it is. The dollar has not risen. In fact, even if you look at the 1 year dollar, it's not bought more, it buys less. It's getting cheaper and cheaper. And again, the dollar index strength, the dollar strength is based on it compared to other pieces of crap in the basket of currencies. That's what dollar DYX is. That's what dollar strength is. I'll show you what dollar strength is since 1913 if you take a look at this maximum chart here. Since 1913, here's your dollar strength. Gosh, that is a snazzy looking suit there. I think I might pick me up one of those right there. Oh, red and white candy stripe, pinstripe. Man, that's pretty cool. 1920s men's suit. And you're probably asking, why, Brian, why are you showing me a 1920s men's suit? Because, again, you can fact check me on this. I'm probably close to it. But back in 1920, you could buy yourself a snazzy ass suit like this with the red, with that, with the white suit. I'm kind of digging that one right there myself, but that's probably what I would have bought, more conservative, on that conservative look. But take a look at that nice orange shirt there. And why am I bringing up a 1920s suit? Because this is what it took to buy a 1920s suit in 1928. A good man's suit in 1928, approximately, give or take, not the best, okay, but a decent man's suit in 1928 would have cost you $20, thereabouts. Series 1928 $20 bill. In case most of you not familiar with this note, by the way, you can still take it to this bank and cash it for $20. But you know what the bullshit part of the note is this: you no longer I can highlight that. You can no longer redeem this in gold on demand at the United States Treasury, origin gold, or lawful money at it. You can redeem it for what they call lawful money, but you can no longer redeem it for gold anymore. But back in 1928, when a man's suit like that cost $20, you could walk in with your $20 bill, which was redeemable in $20 worth of gold from the Fed. And here's what you would get. You'd get a $20 gold piece in return for it. You could buy a man's suit with that, okay? Now, here's where I'm talking about where this chart is so misleading. The price of the dollar just increasing. Again, it's a basket of currencies. And again, this doesn't go back that far if you really think about it. I'm not sure when they started tracking this, but this is misleading to a lot of economists and a lot of people, investment type people, that look at this and go, look, the dollar is rising. What they forget about is that rising part, again, I've said it 10 times already, has nothing to do with the dollar buying more. In fact, the dollar buys far less than what a gold does, the equivalent gold was back then. It's just based on the other currencies that it's compared to, which are in a free fall and a race to the glue factory, if you've ever heard that term, horse race to the glue factory, which in case the last winner to get to the glue factory is in fact the winner, and that's what the US dollar is. And that's what US dollar strength really is. Remember, you could buy a nice man's suit for a $20 gold piece, which was equivalent, this was equivalent to an ounce of gold back then. Oddly enough, if you went to try to buy a nice modern day man's suit, right, suit today with a $20 bill, you'd have to go to, oh my gosh, you couldn't buy a man's suit even from the thrift store for $20, all right, for this bill right here, which is no longer redeemable in gold. But could you buy a good man's suit with this, which at the time when we were backed by gold was the same? Sure you could. You could buy a nice man's suit for $2,000 today, and probably a couple of them actually. All right, hope you got my point there. I'm going to get into the S&P 500 to gold ratio. I saw a comparison by a couple writers out there and YouTube talking heads, comparing the S&P rate. Oh, hold on. Actually, one of them was a ZH article over here, comparing the SP to the 500 to gold ratio, S&P to the gold ratio. And the problem with the S&P, again, gold is steady. Gold, you can still buy a good man's suit today if you really think about it. It's kept up with inflation quite well, if not really well, considering what the fiat dollar has not kept up with, which is deceiving based on the dollar index, which, the dollar's strong, but it's not. So The S&P, I saw someone compare the S&P to the price of gold, which is bullshit because you know how many companies are not in the S&P anymore? That's cherry picking. You cannot cherry pick a time frame from one point to another. Where's that cherry picking article here? Oh gosh, I got past of it. Someone was talking about gold here. Oh gosh, look at that. That doesn't surprise me right there. I've been talking about this for a while. I don't even want to talk about that stuff anymore. Oh man, hang on a second. I had that article here. Hedge funds baffled, doesn't confuse me. They deal on algos. The algos are rigged. No wonder they're baffled. All right, not going to get into it right now, but where'd it go? There we go. All right, this is the chart I was looking to. Well, again, an author in Zero Hedge, and probably one of the investment blogs out there compared the S&P 500 to the gold ratio and how much you would have done so much better with the S&P. But he takes out the fact that you would have had to been in the right stocks. The S&P has changed so many times, like the Dow. So many companies in there, so many companies out of there. And again, that's cherry picking data. And again, comparing gold, to me, gold and silver are an investment against fiat currencies, an investment against world issues, problems, political issues, investment against a collapse in the world economy, which I don't really see happening to the degree that some people fear about. Some people, when they think about collapse in the economy, they have this Kevin Costner, the postman view of it, where we're going to be out there trading each other furskins and sexual favors for and cheaply for food or a piece of bread. And again, that's a terrible way to look at it. That ain't going to happen probably in our lifetime. And I've talked about that many times, so I'm not going to get in there. How did I get from there to the S&P 500? Well, it's been a long day. So, but the S&P, unfair comparison, that's cherry-picking data, and there's no comparison to the S&P 500 to the gold ratio, except to the point that you can point out that the S&P ratio, or what the S&P was worth at the time, even though, again, it may have been different stocks involved with the S&P than involved with this. But across the board, gold has always performed very well, and the S&P doesn't do too well in times like this, August 2011 and August 2012, where the price of gold starts taking off dramatically. And again, it's apples and oranges. How you can compare the S&P to, or the Dow Jones to the price of gold is beyond me. What do I compare the gold price with? Not the S&P, not the Dow, not those type of investments and those type of casino type investments. And don't get me wrong, I think there's a place for those things. I think there's a place, and I shouldn't call it a casino, but it is. Even the COMEX markets are casinos, commodities markets are casinos. But if I'm going to compare gold to anything, I'm going to compare it to oil. Because oil is very important in our society right now, and still important. Take a look at the charts. I mean, we really kind of follow this right here because, I don't know, they're real products. They're real products that come out of the ground. They're real products that exist. They're not services. They're not derivatives. They're not fiat currencies. They're real products. So I think the fairest comparison to gold would be silver, other precious metals, and oil and other commodities, including food. I think that's a better comparison of gold and silver, not to stocks and the Dow and stuff like that. Gold is money. You can't eat it, but I tell you what, it is money. It's been around for 5,000 years. The S&P is not money. The fiat currencies we have today are not money anymore. They're fiat. All right. You got my point. Let me move along here to another bullshit chart, gold versus real yields. Why am I going to say this is a bullshit chart? Only because the data is so skewed. The chart above plots the price of 1 ounce of gold and the inflation-adjusted 10-year Treasury yield. The real interest rate is defined as the difference between the nominal interest rate and expected inflation rates. And why is this such a bullshit chart here? And again, I like these charts, long-term trend charts. And I believe the charts are genuine in the data they got, but the data is screwed up. The data is screwed up. That's the problem we got with this. You can't trust the data on here. The inflation is based on CPI rates. The inflation is not based on real-world data. So if your data is screwed, you really can't. The data for gold is absolutely correct because you can't. I was just going to say you can't manipulate the data for the price of gold, but of course you can if you manipulate the prices. So where am I going with this? I just confused myself. But no less, the real rates on these charts, look, they're talking about real rates at being 0.5%. And is this based on a 6% CPI? Is this based on an 8% CPI, 9%? The truth is that using actual instead of expected inflation. Anyways, you get my point here. I can go on to that. And that's what Pam and Russ Martins talk about in gata.org. By the way, if you want to know where and how gold markets are manipulated, no one does it better explaining it than gata.org. It should be on your bookmark bar. They talk about the basics, confiscation, all that other nonsense. By the way, confiscation is nonsense. Not that it didn't happen, but it's going to happen in the future. Highly unlikely. But I digress. That's a different subject. Pam and Russ Martins, without authority, Fed creates $500 billion bailout fund for Wall Street. Listen, the Fed got a green light to do whatever the frick they want back in 2008, and they've been doing it ever since. They've been manipulating markets. I believe they manipulate commodities. Go oil, too. I believe that oil prices are manipulated politically and on the COMEX, CRIMEX world markets as well, just like I believe that gold and silver markets are manipulated and other equity markets as well. But I digress. Good article that you should read, recent in the gata.org. And who talks about silver manipulation better than anyone out there? Ted Butler. He has Butler Research. I'm going to show you this right here. I'm a big fan of Ted Butler because nobody understands silver manipulation better than Ted Butler, in my opinion. Let me see if I can pull up Mr. Butler's page here. It's going to take a moment. And let's pull up Ted Butler because his page is a subscription-only service. But Ted Butler has a lot of good articles out here. Ted Butler, SilverSeek. SilverSeek puts out a lot of stuff on him. Ted Butler, Silver Doctors. What I would do is put in Ted Butler, Silver Manipulation, and you will see a whole bunch of articles that are free that you can read. But again, I'm just kind of pointing you to sources that explain how things are manipulated. I'd also watch the interviews with Ted Butler as well if you can. Why Silver Price Manipulation is the Best Reason to Own It by Ted Butler. Ted Butler on Silver Manipulation, good thing. And again, he does a lot of interviews. You can read those for free, or you can go to his website, butlerresearch.com, and pay $30 a month. Well worth it, folks, especially if you're doing the business or you're buying enough silver to make it worthwhile to understand what's going on in that market. All right, I need to catch my breath here because I thought this was going to be a quick video tonight. Not so much. This just disgusts me because I'm talking about this for a long time. This particular government is so corrupt, so bankrupt and corrupt. They always have been. It's even worse today. And this is probably true. And think about the billions we're shipping over there. This is this current administration's war. All right, this is their war. This is the war of the current Blue Party. They started it in 2014 and 16. They're recontinuing today. They started it by creating a coup in this particular country in 2014. So if I haven't explained it well enough, because someone made a comment in one of my in the last video that the last they knew that good countries don't invade free countries. So that just shows how naive people are out there. And it's easy to be naive if you listen to this. These people, look, they censored their own documentary after that because they were told to. Bunch of us. All right. And this is true, absolutely true. Dangerous, deadly, and dumb, but that's not untypical of this current Blue Party. This is both administrations. Lindsey Graham, as far as I'm concerned, he's a red party. He can smoke turds in hell with John McCain haha, satire. I was just joking, YouTube. And Nancy can do the same thing. I hope she smokes turds in hell with McCain as well. And again, that's just pure satire. That was funny stuff. Ha ha. YouTube, remember that as satire. And where are we going from here? Nowhere good. Don't feel like talking about anything politics. You guys read this stuff yourself. And of course, one of the best deals out there. Oh, I'd like to thank the person that drove down from Georgia to buy silver from me. Wow, I'm honored. Speechless, actually, that someone drove down from this, did a 12-hour drive to come down and buy silver from me. And there's got to be some good dealers up that way. But thank you very much. I appreciate it. And again, if you're buying any kind of quantity, I'll get that in a moment. Meanwhile, think for yourself. Question authority, folks. You know why. Explaining that at the beginning, you can reverse this or pause this screen and just ponder it. But meanwhile, that's it. This is Brian with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in Lauderdale by the Sea. This is our brick and mortar. You can come in anytime and buy gold and silver from us between 10 and 4 Mondays through Fridays. If you're buying more than 100 ounces of gold or 2,500 ounces of silver, please call us at Concierge Bullion Services, no matter where you live in the United States. We do ship, and we do online phone sales, and we do, it's kind of a bullion service for people that are spending a little bit more money. We can discount the prices quite a bit. And again, I'll advertise to beat APMEX, JM, and SD Bullion. That's pretty easy. And the other guys out there that advertise to sell gold and silver, I will beat them. If you're a legit client, most of you legit watching me, but if you got the money in your accounts, you can pay for the stuff. I can get you a damn good deal. And again, minimum 100 ounces of gold and 2,500 ounces of silver. However, with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals, our walk-in brick and mortar, you can come in with $6 and I'll find a way to get some good silver in your pocket for a decent price. Well, that's it, folks. This is Brian Kuzmar with both of those companies, calling it a evening. Hope you have a great night, great Monday, and let's hope for higher prices this week. And let's hope that that trial with J.P. Morgan resolves itself into COMEX getting into some trouble and maybe making these gold and silver and maybe oil markets and all these other markets safe and legit. Again, that's just my opinion. I'm going to stick with it, and the opinion of people that's smarter than me. That's my little contract at the end. All right, folks, have a good night. I'll talk to you on tomorrow, Tuesday.